Hello, explorers, and welcome to episode 25. As always, it's me, Jack, recording from Belize. As always, I'm joined by the queen of the Sarlacc pit herself. It's Taylor.
Hello.
And also the good-looking, handsome man who's hotter than Anakin after Mustafar. It's Jimmy.
Yeah, howdy.
Yeah.
Loves a good intro. So, we'll start with you, Jimmy. How's your week been?
Long and hot again. Stupid Kansas. It's middle of October, almost the end of October. We had like 90-degree weather this weekend. So
Really?
It's like the 40s. It's like the high 39, 38, 39 for you guys or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
But it was fine though. We had one of our last big cross country meets, and we only have 3 days of school this week coming up, so it was good. We got through it. So, how about you, Taylor? How was your week?
It's been interesting to say the least. But I've had the complete opposite. It's been cold and windy and rainy and stormy and like purple, dark gray skies all week. So I'll happily trade you, Jimmy. But yeah, it's been a good week. How about you, Jack? What's the weather like over there?
Belize is still treating me to glorious weather. The humidity is thankfully gone, so I no longer feel like I'm walking in a hot shower. But yeah, it's the Mediterranean or the Caribbean, should I say? So it's lovely here.
I'm jealous.
Cool. Let's see then what force encounters we've got for this week.
Okay, I carved a C-3PO pumpkin. I think I sent a
Pictures to
picture
follow.
of it to you guys. And maybe I just sent it to Jimmy because I was afraid of your judgment. But it was very much a free-handed C-3PO head because the pumpkin that my daughter said that I was allowed to carve was like super long and narrow and not like a round pumpkin. So yeah, but I have been growing a pumpkin out in my garden that I have been saving specifically to do something special with. So
You should have done.
It's almost orange.
You should have done. What's his name? Adimundi, the Jedi Master. If it was a narrow pumpkin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try. It's actually so hard to try and get like stuff to show up on a pumpkin because it needs to like shine through the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh. But
Yeah,
I
can
think
imagine.
I'm going to do like a time-lapse video of me carving this next one. So stay tuned.
Gosh.
And
That'd be cool.
yeah, it might be a total mess. So
Nice.
yeah, we'll see.
Looking forward to that little Halloween special then. What about you, Jimmy?
Well, I saw Taylor's pumpkin. I know she sent it to at least me, and I knew it was C-3PO right away. Like
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty good. So I had two this week I had actually like a couple. Hadn't had a ton this week. But last night was with my wife's family, and I were all having dinner together and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are having their first kid, so we were joking around about getting them Star Wars stuff.
Nice.
We started going through Amazon Star Wars baby clothes. There's some pretty hilarious stuff out there.
Yeah, there is. Like, I am your baby or whatever. And like,
yeah, and
you are my father.
My favorite was I'm a little Sith, so they'll be getting some fun Star Wars baby clothes. And then my second one is so we had a big regional meet. It's the meet that gets us to state. We knew we were kind of up against it. Some of the really strong teams there, some older teams. We're pretty young on both sides. And so I had this tattoo on my arm, on my left arm, in Arabesh. I've got tattoos on my right and my left forearms in Arabesh. And the one on my left arm is a Qui-Gon Jinn quote that says, "Remember, your focus determines your reality."
Oh.
And so I never tell the kids what they mean. But so before we got out there, we knew we were kind of up against it, and we lost a boy to an injury that was not injury, but he had something else he had to do. And so we kind of gave my kids a little Star Wars lesson. about the
Nice.
tattoo on my arms because they had most of them never. Like I said, I don't tell them what they are, and every once in a while I'll use them. And I just kind of told them like, you gotta. Your focus is going to determine your reality out here on this cross country meet because it was hot, hadn't been hot in like a couple weeks, and we were all miserable. And they went out and they ran really well. I'm very proud of them. We didn't have the result we wanted, but I was pretty proud of them though for going out there and getting after it. So it was pretty cool to be able to share that with them. And so it was a fun force encounter. What about you, Jack?
Nice. Apart from battling the communications and the comms out here, the only real force encounter I've got is I finally finished Catalysm at last. Rejoice.
Yes, you did!
It is complete. Not quite the ending I was expecting in terms of actual Greylark and stuff like that. It does pick up.
Yeah.
It does pick up. I'll give it that. It does pick up, but for me, it goes from 0 to hero pretty quick. I've got now Path of Vengeance. I've tried to listen to that my hardest, but I kept falling asleep. I'm absolutely just getting worked. I'm getting worked to death at it. It's pretty hot, so I'm struggling to concentrate at night when I'm trying to listen to a book. But yeah, and apart from that, that's pretty much all I've got for Force Encounters for this week. Okay, then let's head over to Batu, and we'll have a quick look at what the news is coming out of there.
Okay. Elzar Mann mourns Stellan Gios in The Eye of Darkness by George Mann. The first excerpt was released on StarWars.com on October 18th. In this short snippet, we find Elzar Mann considering his place in the galaxy, the Republic, and the brewing conflict while he grieves the absence of his two best friends. Okay.
I'm not going to answer any questions.
I have not finished
I've
phase
seen
one.
I knew this was going to...
And
Yeah.
every week we have a script that kind of gives us a bit of balance of how we get from A to B on our podcast. This week on my thing of news, somebody put that Stellan is dead, and I didn't know that, and you two are laughing. And my
Can I
heart
say
is
as well,
broken.
obviously, it wasn't me that's done the script, so that's a pretty beep move by Jimmy.
Well, anyways, okay, so I just actually read the part where Elzar had the vision of Stellan being dead, so I would have been a little bit pissed 3 days ago if I hadn't read that. But I had not read this excerpt because I'm not done phase one yet, but I'm so close. Like the fair has just been like destroyed, like the Republic Fair.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. And like Elzar just used the dark side, and like, Elzar was all in his secretary's bed and such, which is an interesting chapter.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that. But the excerpt is out, so you guys have to listen to it or read it. Sorry if you're caught up, and then let us know how you like it, because I'm gonna read it as soon as I can. I already have The Eye of Darkness ordered. Did I send you the picture? I ordered the 3 books that are coming out. I have it up here, but it's like the 2 young
you sent me
young
a
adult
Christmas
books.
list.
Yeah, no, I ordered that for myself. So I ordered the one with Martian on the front, and then I ordered the young adult one, and then like the mediocre book that are coming out. So I'm like super excited. And it's like Escape from the Republic Fair, and I'm super excited for it because it's like, I'm almost done phase 1. So sorry. Anyways, that was my news. Okay.
Yeah, I read that little bit. It's fine.
Did you?
Doesn't really tell you much.
Okay,
I read it this afternoon when I was making a script.
Yeah. Was it really? It's not too long, is it?
No, it's maybe a page and a half, 2 pages. It's just like
Right.
the opening, I think, because
Oh.
Stellan goes through Elzar goes through some stuff at the end of Fallen Star.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading right now.
You know what's going to happen. I mean, the name of the book tells you what's going to happen, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth reading if you're up to date, or if you've read phase 1, you're fine to go and read that. It doesn't spoil anything from phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think I'm like halfway.
I'm going to go back and reread the last little bit of back and reread the little last part of Fallen Star, I think, because some stuff that they're talking about I don't remember, but I've read like 15 books since then. So, all right,
I'm the
Jack, what do you
exact same
got?
as you, Jimmy. I'm the exact same with you. Cool. Yeah. So, bit of gaming news for everybody. Minecraft Star Wars Path of the Jedi DLC is coming out on November the 7th. In the Path of the Jedi as well, you'll be able to play as a Padawan. You'll be able to customize your own droid. You'll be able to build a lightsaber as you go on various missions throughout the entire galaxy. And you'll also encounter legends like Yoda and Mace Windu as you rise through all the ranks, the rank of a Jedi Knight. Now, my son and my
No
daughter play
way.
Minecraft, so I'll be definitely having a little blast on that. It just sounds pretty awesome. And I've seen some
So,
I have
do we
amazing
never
Minecraft
played
stuff.
Minecraft.
Yeah, I know some people who play Minecraft. I think Matilda, does Matilda play Minecraft? Maybe I'm crazy. Sorry, Matilda, if you don't. But some of our listeners play Minecraft. But like, is this going to be like in the Minecraft like universe? Like, you just have the Star Wars add-on to it, or is this like entirely
downloadable
Star Wars?
It's a DLC, so it'll be attached to the game.
Okay,
yeah,
so you can run around as your
there's some
character while there's
amazing
like
builds out
other.
there.
Okay, cool. Okay, I get it.
So cool.
Yeah, I've never played Minecraft, and I probably never will. But we'll see. This would be the one reason I might try it.
Yeah,
a few
right.
weeks ago, we talked about this story about this X-wing starfighter from the original movie, and it finally sold. And this is crazy. So the story: an original 20-inch model of the X-wing starfighter used in the cinematic space battle in 1977 Star Wars sold for a record-setting $3.135 million USD at the Heritage Auction in Dallas.
Crazy.
That is
oh
insane.
My gosh.
So it says that Heritage just set the record for the most expensive Star Wars screen used prop sold at auction, said Joe Madalena, Executive VP Hollywood Entertainment Memorabilia at Heritage Auctions. In a statement to Hollywood Reporter, the worldwide response to Greg Gine's collection has been outstanding, a true statement to Greg and all he accomplished as a visual effects artist and collector. So remember, someone just found this in a box out in his garage.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if this man has passed away. I should have looked this up, but they found it a month ago. I cannot remember when we reported on the story.
Yeah.
But then $3.1 million for it's the one that was in a lot of those shots sweeping down on the Death Star. So that is crazy.
I can see that. And you know what? I bet you also the year that this auction happened has a lot to do with the price. Like if this was found like 10 years ago, it'd probably be like 1 million. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So
who has that kind of money? And they don't just have one Star Wars toy worth this much. They have
an
like
empty
6
room
other...
with the X-wing sitting on it.
Yeah. Next, we have director Matthew Vaughn was recently on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast and said he would love to reboot our beloved Star Wars franchise if Disney Lucasfilm would let him. First of all, I want to just poke this guy in his 2 eyeballs. Why do you think that our beloved Star Wars franchise needs a reboot? We're doing amazing right now, okay? So, I mean, that's my opinion. Can you imagine if they redid some stuff, like remade some movies?
Well, he's talking about restarting the whole franchise, but
no!
I don't want to talk too much about that. I think Jack might be frozen. But Tuesday night, we're going to have our second High Council meeting, and me and a few people. And if these guys can make it, we're going to deep dive into all the stuff that Matthew Vaughn said in his interview. And then we're going to kind of, I've started collecting some retorts from people and some feelings. So if you're listening out there and you have a strong feeling like Taylor does, and you want to physically harm Matthew Vaughn, let us know in our comments and different things like that, so that we can use them for the High Council meeting on Tuesday. So that'll be fun.
Do you think you can be a Jedi Master?
Yeah. So, Jack, what do you think? Should they reboot the Star Wars franchise from scratch?
Absolutely not. No, leave it alone. Unless you're casting me in it, then yeah. But other than that, no.
Yeah, we'll be in it.
What else you got for us, Jack?
Next up, this Tuesday, the Actors Guild are going back to the table. Apparently, there's some more negotiations and offers on there. So who knows what offers, and I think that's up to its 100th day now of battles, if you like. So hopefully, some positive news that comes out of there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like 100 days, but it's like, keep going, guys.
Well, you have to remember too that the actors came in later, right?
Yeah.
They came in after the writers went on strike to show solidarity. And there's some hangups. If you go to, and it kind of ties into my next door, if you go to StarWarsNews.net, StarWarsNewsNet.com, I always do that with that website. Miguel Fernandez, he has this whole article. He's written one on his movies, news.net as well, or net.com. But in it, he just goes through and he starts talking about how the strike has affected Star Wars movies and projects. And some of it was kind of promising now that the writers are on. He said that, some of these people are tied to Star Wars and haven't been official. But like Sean Levy, he's still going to be tied up with Deadpool 3 because of all the setbacks. Miguel thinks that Dave Filoni will likely has started at work on season 2 of Ahsoka before he starts to work on the film. Mangold still has to film his Bob Dylan biopic, which would have been over had the strikes not been going. So that's going to put that movie back, and he was supposed to do the Dawn of the Jedi. So that's going to push that one back. Lando should be back to work because Donald Glover, who is starring and co-writing it, is allowed to start writing again. They believe that Taika Waititi's Star Wars script might be the most far along project that Lucasfilm has so far, which after Love and Thunder, I'm not sure I'm too excited about that. It says the Acolyte is in advanced state of post-production, so that's good. That means that's still on track, yeah. And that they might already be working on season 2 of that. So that's pretty crazy.
Nice.
Mandalorian, he says that the 4th season, as soon as the actor strike is resolved, they could start as early as January, February filming because, he says like most of those actors aren't doing a lot of stuff.
No,
there's no one. Pedro Pascal and Andor season 2 has been halted. Obviously, Skeleton Crew. It says here that maybe some ADR work that was required in post-production has not been affected by either strike. However, I wouldn't be surprised if part of the reason why Lucas is no longer releasing it this year is because they don't have Jude Law around to promote it, which is something we've talked about. We know what Jack thinks is going to happen, but we're all hoping he's wrong. And then lastly, they talked about, I know this is a lot, but they talked about the Jedi Rise of the Skywalker, Rey Skywalker, Daisy Ridley's new film with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. And I didn't know some of this information, and I was kind of looking back and trying to find out how it kind of slid through. But apparently they fired the first writers, and they brought on the guy who, Stephen Knight, who is responsible for writing Peaky Blinders. If you've ever seen that, that's really good. And they wanted to center more around Daisy Ridley's character, Rey, than they did the other Jedi. So that was kind of news. And that supposedly happened around April, May, which I'm like, how did that slide through the cracks? But that would have been the time that they were kind of pushing
everything else,
Indiana Jones and things like that, maybe. So yeah, so he's this guy Miguel is pretty positive. He's got connections in the business. That article is on StarWarsNewsNet.com. You should go give it a check out. It's a pretty good one. He has a retort for Dave for the Matthew Vaughn stuff as well. So, but yeah, go check that out. It's pretty good. They have a lot of good stuff on that website.
We find the best news for you guys, but
usually from that website.
Well, here's a lovely bit of news. Star Wars: The High Republic gets its first limited edition legacy lightsaber hilt. Oh my goodness. Star Wars The High Republic will soon receive its first ever FX lightsaber. Last Sunday, it was announced that fans can look forward to a new legacy lightsaber hilt inspired by Stellan Gios' lightsaber design from the High Republic books and comics Phase 1. It will be available at Shop Disney and Disney Resorts and Parks later this fall. So I am super excited about this. I mean, now that I know that Stellan's like getting it, maybe I need his lightsaber. And I looked to see if I could pre-order this. I can't find it to pre-order anywhere yet. But I did find a picture of Claudia Gray holding the lightsaber, and she looks like she has had the best cup of coffee of her life. So,
does look pretty
yeah,
happy.
she
does
her
look
eyes
pretty
are just like, oh, like she has just seen something magical. And I know that Jimmy, you said you don't really like the look of this lightsaber, but I just think it's just so different from all the other sabers, right?
Think if the cross guard like folded up whenever it was done,
It
that would look
does.
cool, but it looks like one solid piece.
Oh, does
Well, not there. It doesn't.
it might not actually like the hilt that's going to be available to us might not. So if you guys aren't looking at a picture of this saber right now, this is a blue crystal lightsaber with a cross guard, kind of like Kylo Ren's, but it's not like a broken crystal, so it's not cracky. And it's got like gold and silver and black accents on it. So this is the lightsaber that's on the front of Fallen Star, the Fallen Star book.
Yeah, it looks just like
the concept.
It looks like the High Republic
Yeah,
Jedi.
it does. It looks like the concept art and stuff. But in the book, the crossguards fold up, but I don't think they will for us. Yeah. And I'm kind of hoping that Claudia Gray just has really small hands because it looks like a fat hilt. And I don't think I'd be able to...
That thing looks
I don't
massive.
think I'd be able to swing that with one hand. I don't think Stellan does, though. Oh, he does at one point. He does 2 sabers in each hand. But anyways, if anybody's going to get this, let me know because I need to know where to get it right away, and I want it.
All right. Well, it should be all the news this week. All right. So last week we dove into what we thought we were going to do all 3 episodes of the Mortis arc, and one of them took us 45 minutes to get through. So we'll see. I think we all have our notes and we're ready to go right now. But we're going to start with the second episode in the arc. It's from season 3. It's episode 16. It's called The Altar of Mortis. The little quote is, "He who surrenders hope surrenders life." Dun, 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 dun. So, Taylor, what did you think? What did you think of this? What did you think of the second episode of this arc?
This one's pretty crazy, and if you blink, then you will miss a lot. So I've watched this one a couple times to try and get to make sure I haven't missed anything. And it is actually a pretty good arc, and I feel like it is pretty important, and it does relate to our Ahsoka show that we just kind of have almost finished talking about. So, yeah, this is a good one, and I've got a lot of notes for this one. It's a good episode.
Jack, what about you?
Yeah, there's a lot of tie-ins with this, with Ahsoka, I think. And like Taylor says, if you blink at any point on this, you are going to miss something. I think this episode as well is aimed towards, I'd say, the older age group as well, because I think for a young child, they'd probably struggle to understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I've always felt that about Clone Wars, though. After season 2, it's kind of like it's just taken off, and they didn't worry about it being for young people anymore, because there's some heavy stuff. But,
there's like slavery and like it just goes so crazy.
There's some heavy, really heavy episodes. Yeah, I thought this one was good. I watched it 2 or 3 times as we were gearing up for this, and then real quickly this afternoon I watched it like our 4th or 5th time, and I caught some stuff I hadn't caught before.
Oh, geez.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, like, but we'll get into some of that towards the end. But anyway, so starting off, the scenes open up. Ahsoka, Kenobi, and Anakin are trying to fly away after the ordeal of the first episode of this arc, and
Yeah. So
Anakin's having a
they think they're
dream.
going home. They think they're
They
flying
think they're
home, and
going
Anakin
home.
is having
Yeah.
a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he sees himself coming across the water, and they start talking to each other. Then the brother reveals himself.
Yeah.
And a couple things he says is, "Together we can change the balance of the universe."
Yeah.
And then Anakin's like, "I'm never joined the dark side."
Just so
And
you know,
then
I
the
won't
brother
go
says,
easy. Yeah.
"Yeah." He goes, "Light and dark, as if there is one without the other." And then they talks about bringing peace to the universe. Some of these things are echoed by Anakin even in Revenge of the Sith, about bringing
Yeah.
peace to his galaxy and all this stuff.
Actually, I caught I caught a few different lines in this episode that totally go with the Skywalker like trilogy
Oh,
movies, like the films.
tons, tons,
So
tons.
I wrote them down. So I wrote the ones down that I
Yeah,
found. But yeah.
yeah. Of course, we have Sam Witwer doing the brother's voice, and in a scene where he's like, "Bring peace to the universe," and he screams, "We'll destroy the Sith and the Jedi." You hear this flash of like Palpatine's voice, and
Yes.
this episode is really tied into all the stuff that is happening. Revenge of the Sith, as far as the Galactic War, the Clone Wars
Yeah.
heating up, Sidious getting more power, like all this stuff as it's happening in that episode is kind of pushing not Attack of the Clones, but pushing Revenge of the Sith forward as a storyline, because it's like the dark side's getting more powerful, the war is heating up, and
Yeah.
it's slowly kind of setting these seeds for Anakin, I think, to do whatever it takes to end the war. So
Yeah. Yeah, I guess right away the brother wants to join forces with Anakin. And I think the brother needs Anakin's help. Because he's
yeah,
definitely
like a vest.
yeah. Like Anakin has proved to himself and to everybody around him in that time frame that he is the chosen one. He even believes it
Yeah,
himself that he's the chosen one
yeah,
finally, right? He's never really believed it before. And the brother believed him, and he says, we can join forces and we can be stronger than the Jedi. And he goes, by becoming a Sith, I'll never join the dark side. And the brother's almost like offended. He's like, we will destroy the Sith. And it's just like, whoa. Like,
yeah, it gets intense.
yeah. Oh my gosh, there's lots of yelling in this.
Yes, there's lots of yelling. So,
So yeah, and
but
it turns out that Anakin is totally having a nightmare on the ship. And he wakes up to the brother being on the ship, and he takes Ahsoka and just jumps out of the ship. And he runs up front and he goes to Obi-Wan, who's trying to fly the ship. He's having issues. He goes, he just took Ahsoka! And he's like, what the blazes are you talking about? And, Obi-Wan's just like, are you joking? Like, what's going on? And it's like, turn around! He's got her. So, and then they crash back into Mortis. So, good one, Obi-Wan.
yeah,
Another
it was
happy
weird. It was a good
landing.
flight. Another happy landing. Yeah, it was a good flight scene. It was kind of not really understanding why Kenobi yanked on the controllers or whatever. So they get there, and this shows the difference between Kenobi and Anakin better than anything. Kenobi is not heartless, but he's like, we just need to stay out of it. Ahsoka's been taken, and he's like, we just have to stay out of it because we don't know what the ramifications could be. Even though Ahsoka's been kidnapped, and Anakin, of course, letting his heart roll him, it's like, nope, I'm going to get her. And then they split up. They decide to do things differently as usual. How these two ever work together is beyond me, because I mean that short little clip right there just shows
Yeah.
the difference between those two. And of course, we're obviously being able to see ahead and know what happens. Anakin may be as powerful as hell, but Kenobi probably a better Jedi as far as more
Much
control of the
better.
Force.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
he's pushing aside like his feelings to like of Ahsoka being his friend, really, and he's like, this could have
yeah,
major impact on the galaxy as a whole, not just a single person. Like with
yeah. And
blindly
that's the
without
thing.
looking like, oh, it's our friend Ahsoka. It's just one person versus the galaxy. Something
Yeah.
major is happening here. Like,
Do you guys watch Star Trek movies? I know we're a Star Wars podcast, but I'm not one of those Star Wars fans that hate Star Trek. I enjoy them, but
I didn't
um,
mind them. I think it's been like 5 years or something since I've watched the one. But like, I'm talking about the
Yeah.
ones with like Chris. What's his face?
well, I'm talking about the original movies. So,
Yeah.
um, the idea behind the end of how was it,
Pratt.
episode 2 or 3
Not Pratt.
of theirs, then the next one's the search for Spock, and the whole
Yes.
thing is the one outweigh the many,
Yes, that's what
and
Spock
chat.
says in the cave. Yeah.
Yes, and so and I always think about that when I've watched this episode. This is an arc. This is you know something that plays through a lot of TV shows and movies.
Hmm.
But that's what the Jedi are supposed to be above. They're not supposed to let their
Yeah.
feelings, interfere. But of course, Anakin is going to save everybody, and
Yes.
you see what happens to him. So
Ah,
I
so
just think that was
terrible.
kind of interesting. Yeah. But there's flashes of him. That's what I love about the Clone Wars too. And I think I said this before. Is like these little flashes of what he's becoming.
Yeah,
Does
and
such
the
a good job.
music. Like if you listen, you can hear the
The
music
music
of
was
like
so
Darth
good in this
Vader.
episode.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, yeah. I really really liked the music in this. Um, but yeah. So what did you? I mean, do you get anything else out of that little snippet? That little that back and forth between Kenobi and Anakin.
No, just yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head where Kenobi is thinking of the galaxy, the whole everything as a whole, and then Anakin's thinking like first, like right in front of him. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly. I mean, that's what they want us to see too. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
gets him in trouble in the end. So,
right.
I don't necessarily disagree with Anakin. I mean, we know how it ends, but
No,
I
of
mean,
course
a
we're
normal.
all yeah, like of course we're all going to relate to Anakin. We're going to go save our friend, and like we know the relationship between Padawan and Master. It's almost like Padawans don't have parents, so the closest thing to a parent that they have is their master. Is master? Oh man, can't even talk. Is their master? But it's the same thing. It's almost like it's your child when you're a master versus your Padawan because you can't have children if you're a Jedi. We know it's happened, but so they want Anakin to be so relatable. And obviously all of us would become Sith because we all love our family and our friends. So they pull on the heartstrings. Darn you, Dave Filoni. So in the next scene is when Ahsoka wakes up, and I guess she's in like a prison or like a cell or something. I don't know. She's in like a dungeon or something. And she wakes up and there's this weird goat bear guy there, and he's kind of talking to her, and he's like, and he says, "Child, you need to forget your master in order to live," or like something to that degree, which is the same as what um like the Force Ahsoka future Ahsoka from her future was saying to her earlier. So maybe it isn't the Force talking to her. It's before. It's probably the brother, right? That's what we decided. So,
Well,
anyways,
yeah, it's definitely.
yeah, it's all
Yeah, I
it's
think.
all a mind trick. Blah. So
Yeah.
So she's
Um.
talking to this goat guy, and he says, in order to survive, you must forget your master. And when she's not looking, she totally gets bit by him, this goat man. And she's like, ah, what are you doing? And it turns out to be the brother. And what happens?
yeah. Yes. So, um. Yeah, this was weird, and it makes me wonder. I got a couple things. Is she the backup plan? Right? If he can't get Anakin because he kind of turns her, but and I also think this ties into the he who surrenders hope surrenders life because they're trying to break each one of these characters, get them to give up, and she talks about separating her from her master, and that all the stuff that happens in your head is worse than the chains that bind you. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, she turns into the famous Dark Ahsoka with all the like veins and stuff popping out. And this kind of sets up the next scene. But if you go on Instagram, there's a cosplayer called Snippy Cosplay, and she does Ahsoka stuff. She has the Dark Ahsoka outfit, and man, it is incredible.
It's so good, right?
I'm sure she was
I
at
love
Celebration.
Crazy.
She was.
She was
totally
there.
was.
I was trying to find her because I was like, I just wanted to take a photo with her because like I love her cosplay.
Yeah.
I think they should have gotten her if she can act. I reached out to her one time to ask her to come on the show when we first got started.
Come on, Snippy, come on our show.
Yeah, I know, right? But I never even got a response back. I think she's pretty popular. Mm-hmm. She has tons of followers and stuff, so she probably gets bombarded with stuff, and we obviously aren't quite there yet.
Not yet.
We'll get there. So,
yeah,
but this is kind of set things up. I think this was more of a focus on that, the Hope thing, trying to break Ahsoka, and he does bites and breaks Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. And so then the next scene, because I don't really think there's a whole lot in this. He just kind of has himself, Ahsoka's on his team now because she's controlled by him.
I mean, you could look at it in a way that Ahsoka's struggling in her own mind now. And this probably affects her from like in years to come too. This is one of the things that adds to her maturity when we see her in the Ahsoka series, and she's so mature and just like almost emotionless. And it's like, these are one of the experiences that have like, affected her over the years. And I read somewhere that it wasn't that she just got brought to the dark side. Ahsoka just got turned into the dark side. It wasn't that. It was that the brother amplified all of her emotions and her feelings that that Jedi pushed down, hold down. So he released all of them, and amplified everything. So what Ahsoka is saying is actually what she's thinking, but probably just times like 10. And she's like, this is the most I felt like myself in a long time, because the Jedi aren't allowed to feel, they have to be selfless, and they can't, they're not allowed to have feelings and stuff. So I believe that it is the most she has felt like herself, because the Jedi don't want you to be yourself, unfortunately.
Jedi is they're a weird group, and the more I read them, sometimes the less I like them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think too, like you have those really good points, Taylor. I think in a few scenes down the road, some of her insecurities kind of bubble to the surface, and I think that's a pretty good shout on that. So, but then there's some weird stuff that happens next in the next scene with the father, the daughter, and the son. So Kenobi goes. I think I have this right. All three of them are kind of back together. The father and the daughter are talking, and she's like, "Don't be mad at him; it's his way." And then some of this writing kind of confuses me a little bit, and I'll read this off, and then I'll let you guys tell me what you think. Maybe you can clear it up for me. He goes, the son comes in, and the father goes, "You have done what is forbidden. You've chosen the dark side and allowed it to feed your anger and desire for power. Do not become what you should not." And my understanding, maybe you guys can clear this up for me, that the daughter is the light, the son is the dark, and the father is the balance, right? So he already is the dark side, isn't he? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, I guess.
I almost think of it, like I perceive it as the father wants them to be as like non-picking a side as possible. Just try to float like in your areas. Like I don't think he wants them to go into their extremes, which they end up doing, because the brother starts getting closer to the dark side, which makes the daughter go closer to the light, and she's trying to help Obi-Wan, and she later on in the episode gives like her life force to Ahsoka, making her absolutely the light, like absolutely selfless. She gives the rest of her life to somebody else, and that's like the most light thing you can possibly do. Whereas at the exact same time, the brother is so dark he's killing someone. So it's like it's almost like the father wanted them completely toned down, but as soon as the brother starts turning up the dark, then the light starts turning up in balance. So I think they balance each other as it is. I don't think they need someone to balance them.
Yeah.
My
That's it,
opinion.
yin
Way
and
more
yang, I think.
powerful than she.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I think so. What do you think, Jack? The yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Do you think that
Yeah.
this, like Taylor said, that it was kind of on the fringes, and then the brother falls, or
Yeah, it's proper yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. And then it's like as soon as one gets a little bit of leverage, the balance is unstable. The scales start going up and down, etc. And the father's literally the man holding the scales. And that'd explain. Like I said earlier, you've got to remember Ahsoka and all these is still only really a teenager. You imagine how young she is.
Yeah.
well, yeah, because she's like, I mean, it never dawned on me until Ahsoka, the
Live
World Between
action.
Worlds episode for this. So yeah, that was,
Yeah.
I don't know why that hit me. I was like, whoa. And now I see it. I'm
She,
like, oh,
yeah.
she's a 10, 12-year-old,
She's a young
dealing with all.
kid, mate. Going through all of this
Yeah.
and the stuff that happened in these Mortis arcs. I think in the second episode, a lot of it's just build up and set up for the
Yeah.
finale. I would say it's filler, but it's not filler really. But yeah, there's a lot of tie-ins with the stuff that Balon talks about, and
Yeah.
yeah, if the scales are unbalanced, the power's unbalanced, and ultimately, you know that Skywalker, and it's been said from the start, is the one to balance the Force.
It's true. And when people say Skywalker will balance the Force, they don't mean snuff out the dark. They, that's what people. You were supposed to bring balance to the Force. It's like Obi-Wan. He did. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like all the Jedi are gone. Like he literally did exactly what the prophecy said, but it was Luke who brought the light back and the balance. But like, I don't know. You know what I mean? He took down the dark side. So I think Anakin did what he was supposed to do.
All right.
As horrible as
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, there's some in the writing. I think there's a little bit of, there's too much room for. I know that they try not to answer all the questions, but it seems like,
Yeah.
for me, it was this, and like you said, yin and yang, and then there's the balance, and then for whatever reason he's falling, but it's fine. It is what it is. Maybe we'll get more stuff now moving forward if Balin ever finds the beginning. We'll get a clearer answer. Who knows? And then, so for the next part, this is weird. This stretch here kind of bothers me with some of the writing stuff. The father threatens the son, says, you need to back off, and as they're walking out, the son just drills the dad and is like, "You're taking too long to die, Dad," and throws him down the stairs or whatever.
Yeah, and he's
And
like,
then
I
lights him
hate
up with,
you!
"Yeah, I hate you via Anakin on Mustafar battle."
Yeah.
So, so I thought that was a pretty good flat, the dark side taking over and letting your emotions kind of run wild,
Yeah.
bringing out the bad side. But that's not the part that bothers me. But I'll let you talk about that, Taylor. What you thought
Yeah.
about that whole little exchange.
So the brother just turns savage and he just snaps and he's all of a sudden disgusting. Like, you are taking too long to die, father. Let me help you. And just like whips him down the stairs. Poor old guy. But the brother is not strong enough to kill the father. So he's very injured. The daughter comes in like, oh, father, no. Like tries to put him
Yeah, I
in a
have some.
coma. Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, because Kenobi watches this all
Yeah. Oh
unfold.
yeah.
As
Kenobi's
Kenobi's
standing
coming
here
to talk,
watching.
and he's like, he watches the son like throw the father down the thing, hit him with Force lightning multiple times, and
Red
like
Force lightning.
red Force lightning, and then the daughter was just back in the other room. Then she comes running out, and I go, "Is the daughter dumb?" Because she was refusing to, like, I have it in my notes. Is she dumb? Because daughter comes to the father's aid. She's like, "What happened?" all kind of like ditzy almost. And
No.
it kind of annoyed me a little bit that they portrayed her like this kind of. And that's another part I guess maybe I don't understand. To me, it's coming across like she's doesn't know what's happening. She's just kind of like ditzy almost, and I hate to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But she also is encompassing like the inactiveness of all the Jedi. They're like, well, let's just wait and see what happens. Let's just wait. Let's just wait. And that drives me insane when they're like, well, I know they don't have to attack, they don't have to go find things, but even like in the first episode of Shadows of Starlight, the Jedi they all pull back and they don't want to do anything. They don't feel like they should go attack the Nihil. I'm like, go get them, So I don't understand that. I guess so I'm gonna need you guys to explain that because she's like, he must have a reason for kidnapping Ahsoka.
It's her
like, what?
brother. Every
Who
single
cares?
brother-sister relationship has this. You're not gonna. There's no way that you would ever believe that your brother or your sister would be a murderer. It's like Judge Judy every weekend. Like, oh my God, my husband wouldn't have killed those 4 kids. It's like, but he did when you were asleep. But because there's like that love there, you don't want to believe that someone you love would do something so horrible.
I understand that, but that's like the parents of some of my students where they believe the student over the parent teacher. It's like, I'm an adult. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, and some of our parents are like, oh, my kid does no wrong. Like, yes, they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. This part, I really like this arc, but this part, the more I watch it, the more times I've watched it, the more it bothers me. I don't like the way that they portray the daughter in this segment because they come back real quick and she's real powerful when she fights the brother, but they feel like they make her kind of ditzy and like silly and not in control, which I know she is, and that bothers me. Especially with all this stuff with like having strong women characters, and then they have her act this way. I was kind of like, that's not good.
Well, they also gave her like a full open chest like dress.
What
okay.
My wife was like, what in the hell? Molly's like, what is she wearing?
And she lives with her dad and her brother only. So it's like, what?
Yeah. So there's some stuff there. I don't want to dwell on it too much. Daughter refuses to help or interfere, and everyone in the room can see. The brother's laying there, or the father's laying there unconscious because he just got zapped by red force lightning, and she's still like, "Oh, I don't know. He has his reasons," and that really bothers me. So you need to talk me off the ledge here. She does help. We'll get to that next, but do you guys see where I'm coming from, though? Like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a bad portrayal.
This is the Jedi way, mate.
Of this, this is supposed to be the light side of the Force encompassed, and they're making the character seem. I have a term. I'm just not going to use it, but it's not. I think it's negative.
Yeah,
I think it's very negative.
I think the Jedi sometimes can be their own worst enemy in the fact that they're way too reserved. They're always looking for the good in people.
Oh, for sure.
And I think this is where so many people like Balon and stuff like that, get my way, I'm just going to end you and move on. Whereas the Jedi like to be really reserved. We'll give them a chance, then we'll give them another chance, and we'll give them possibly one more chance. But yeah, they sort of made her come across, I'd say more as a Disney princess than anything, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, she does end up giving in and attempting to help. She takes Obi-Wan to the altar, and she says, "He who wields this blade can control my brother." But she's not going to wield it herself. She just gives it to Obi-Wan.
Yeah, she can't even go down there, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll leave you here, you go. Yeah.
It's a strange episode, but you got to think of this as well.
Yeah, I thought that was
like these 3 episodes. Again, if you've not watched, if this is the first thing you've watched with Star Wars, these 3 episodes for me would be completely not Star Wars or far away from Star Wars. It's weird. But then again,
yeah, it's a super weird.
These episodes are written by a guy that's already planning nearly 10 years down the line anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen and heard like Lucas's idea for the sequel trilogy was all about the wills and going into like a next, almost like a quantum realm in Star Wars,
Yeah.
Yeah.
before Quantum Mania came out. But yeah, so yeah, it's bizarre, but she does help him, like you said, Taylor gets him the dagger of the Mortis dagger, um, and it kind of has like a, it kind of comes out like what the blade of Talzin did uh, for was it Morgan Elsbeth in the last
Yeah.
episode of Ahsoka. So I thought that was kind of cool. Some of that green flame around it.
Yeah.
Um, then we kind of flash to the next scene because these things kind of jump around quite a bit. Lots of things happen, but in these short little snippets. You got Anakin climbing this big tower. We know that Dave loves Lord of the Rings, and I think this
Yeah.
looks like Saruman's tower from the Two Towers movie. And then he
Definitely.
gets in there and he has to confront Ahsoka or Dark Ahsoka. So, what do you guys think about Anakin versus Dark Ahsoka?
So here's another link to the Ahsoka show with having Ahsoka and Anakin battling it out. They're very I don't want to say they're equal matched, but they're good against each other. And Ahsoka says, "If you don't join him," meaning the brother, "then he will kill me." And she laughs because her emotions are magnified, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And then she goes, and then he says, "I will not kill you." And then she says, then you will be forced to kill me if he does not join the brother. That's what I meant to say.
It was a real creepy voice when she says it too.
Right? And it is Ashley
Real
Eckstein,
creepy.
obviously.
Yeah.
Just the creepy
Really creepy voice.
laughs. Yeah.
I have the quote, "Don't call me that." When I hate that when you call me that. It's when Anakin calls her Snips. And
Yeah,
I
he's
just
like,
put in
calm
quotes.
down, Snips.
And she's like, "Don't call me that. I hate it when you call me that." And I put, "Don't we all?" So
That's quality. I
that's
like
something I've
that.
never warmed up to. Although I did like it when he said it in that episode of Ahsoka. I did kind of like, but during the Clone Wars, it kind of gets old for me, at least. So,
Yeah. Like at the beginning at
um,
least. And then Ahsoka says, "And now the student kills the master." I thought that was
yes,
funny.
and I thought that was a nice little flash forward to Anakin or Darth Vader saying the student has become the master
Yeah,
in the New Hope.
exactly.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, see here real quick. All right. Well, is anything else from that section? That fight scene kind of goes on, and then Kenobi confronts the brother with the daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
then the brother's like, "Oh yeah, but Anakin's got his hands full." And I'm so confused as to where everyone's at because I thought that Ahsoka was in this one tower, they're back in the father's monastery, but then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, she's out there fighting Anakin," and he goes and runs out, and now Kenobi's there as well. I mean, I know this planet's kind of crazy and Alice in Wonderland like, but
Yeah.
uh, so it
Yeah.
was kind of bonkers. So what about the next scene then? So he says, "Can you feel it? Anger, hate, fury." And you've got Anakin
Yes.
fighting Kenobi, and you have conflict with Ahsoka. Anakin and Kenobi fighting Ahsoka, feeding the brother. So it's like all of this chaos that the father has brought there, because he's the one who called them, is
Yeah.
like feeding the brother and making him stronger and stronger, it seems like.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then of course, and I'll let you guys talk about it here in 1 second. And then daughter tries to stop him. Brother tries to stop her. And I thought this was pretty cool. The daughter is like flowing with everything that's happening, and the brother's real brute force. And I thought that was a cool distinction between light and dark, where the daughter's using his momentum against him. It's kind of like from Shang-Chi,
Yeah.
that one lady was like kind of using the momentum of her attackers. And I thought that was really kind of cool. But then, where is it? Then the conflict woke the father, and he comes in and he basically just smokes them both real quick. He's like, flick, and they go flying.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that whole scene, the build up? What are your guys' thoughts on all that?
Cool. I think quickly,
You go, Jack.
in case all my stuff goes, so you can repeat what I'm going to say. So I'm going to apologise now if it goes. I'm gone. However, I think Jimmy hit the nail on the head there, and he's given me more of an idea and the whole point of these episodes. When you said about the brother getting stronger, these episodes are a physical manifestation of the light and the dark, so people can understand. I think, and also the fans are shown what the dark side is. Obviously, you get told it's anger, it's hate, it's this, and this. I think that'd make more sense now with the light side and the sister. You know, she's not very, let's say, clued up or powerful, etc. Because there's so much chaos going on. It's hard to remain cool, calm, and not under pressure. And I think that's where characters like Yoda really come into their own. So I think the whole point of these 3 episodes is to show a physical manifestation of the Force.
Yes, 100%. I think it is the Clone Wars happening, and it's like I said with Taylor, it's the Clone Wars, it's Revenge of the Sith building up.
Yeah.
This is the physical manifestation of that stuff happening off screen, you know. So
Awesome.
what about you, Taylor?
I also have a quote here where I guess the sister was like, "What have you done? Look what you've done." And the brother says, "I have done what is right or wrong from a certain point of view." So that was good. I got that quote too. And then they start fighting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's pretty good. Father intervenes, and then the son lights the father up, and it looks like the scene from Return of the Jedi on the Death Star with Emperor Palpatine lighting Luke Skywalker up. I kind of got flashbacks of that. I think we were supposed to, obviously.
Yeah.
And so Dark Ahsoka steals the dagger, and then the brother kills Ahsoka. I wish they would have dragged this out a little bit longer. I don't know how I would have felt in the moment. Like we've talked about this before, where if we were watching this when they were released on was it Cartoon Network or whatever, how I would be feeling seeing this. But it gets resolved really quickly,
pretty quick,
which is kind of a Star Wars thing. But yeah, the brother kills Ahsoka. He goes to stab the father. The daughter jumps in the way. This is very Shakespearean all around. Stabs the daughter. She dies. Both scream. Chaos is going nuts. Yeah, he lets out one of his Kenobi screams.
Yeah, the brother's heartbroken.
Yeah, he's heartbroken. And then he flies away. The daughter's laying there, and daughter still has no hate for her brother. So, true embodiment of the light side.
Yeah.
But the balance has been broken because, I almost said Peridia, Mortis starts falling apart around them as soon as she gets stabbed and her life essence is leaving.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll finish this a little bit and then we'll get into it. Anakin wants help. He screams, "Can you help me?" The father says there is no hope, tying back into he who surrenders hope, surrenders life.
Yeah.
That the dark side will consume her. Anakin screams that there is always hope.
Yeah.
And I also thought about the title for the original Star Wars, A New Hope. All of this kind of coming together. So I'll let you guys jump in on this now that I've kind of set the scene.
Yeah. Well, Anakin says, "Can you help her? Like, do something." And the father said, "I can't. There's no light here. Like, the light is gone. The darkness is taking over. There's no light to be able to save her. I can't use my powers to save her because there's no light. But there is a little bit of light left." And the daughter kind of, I guess she's able to just kind of, she can talk to her father without saying anything. Like, So the father uses her light, the rest of her life force, to bring Ahsoka back to life. And ever since then, Ahsoka has the Morai following her around, which is the same colors as the sister or the daughter, like that bluey seafoam green color. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like the sister lives inside Ahsoka or the sister's spirit just follows and helps Ahsoka. It's something. There's something in there. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in this short scene. I think it's kind of ironic that the father uses Anakin to transfer the life force from his daughter to Ahsoka, given that's what's going to cause his downfall, is not being able to do that himself. So is
Yeah.
that the gift he needed right there? If he stays put, is he able to save Padme when he needs to?
Oh.
Because he would have that power? Right? Like, that's what I'm kind of like, is that just kind of like a shot at him? Like, haha, if you would have stayed here, look what you were able to do. Because he's the one who physically touches the
Yeah.
daughter and Ahsoka. But, I thought that was kind of crazy. And then, but yeah, I don't know. There's so much. And then with the Morai, I for a long time thought the Morai was the name of the bird, like was the name of the creature. The creature's actually was a convor or something like that, I think. But
Yeah.
you see that the Morai, you see it in the World Between Worlds during Rebels episodes, and there was a quick flash of it in the Ahsoka TV show. It would have been kind of cool, I think, to see a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm curious if that is like the embodiment of the daughter traveling with her. So, I think we'll see. I bet you money that bird transforms into the daughter sometime in season 2 of Ahsoka. With kind of like hey, I've been with you all this time kind of deal. I wouldn't be surprised because I
Wasn't it
still am
seen in The
convinced
Mandalorian?
that
there was like a shape of like an owl thing, but there wasn't like a long tail, so it was never like confirmed if it actually was the Morai or not. But it was in the Ahsoka episode, like looking down on her. But it's like in the shadows, no tail, so it's really like whatever, however you take it, I guess.
And you think it's going to transform in season 2, Jimmy?
I could see if this goes weird and they get into if they're back on Mortis, and I'll explain why I think that this might happen after having watched this episode today. Something was said that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that kind of changes what everyone thinks. But yeah, I think that maybe the bird, kind of like a Harry Potter transfiguration, whoop, here's my spirit. I've been inside this bird contained, and they'll have a good conversation about the light or something. I don't know. It'll be something. If season 1 can be as crazy as it was with witches and all that stuff, I can foresee them going down. If they're going to bring back the ones in live action, I don't think anything's off limits. So,
yeah, right.
But
literally the craziest episodes were the ones that got made into live action.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, and the balance on Mortis starts to crumble, and I have this written in red for some reason. The war in their galaxy will escalate. So this kind of pushes the whole war.
Yeah.
And after the next episode, it jumps into some stuff on with the Citadel stuff. But this is a pretty crazy episode.
Yeah. And right at the end, the father even says, the Sith have now gained strength because the dark side has risen. So the Sith have gained strength in your world, like your physical world. And he says, you have to go back and I'm going to stay here and I'm going to mourn everything that I've done, because apparently the father thinks it's all his fault, but I don't think anything is really his fault.
No, I mean, he probably feels guilty for bringing them there and trying to do that stuff. But he was, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he's trying to save and keep those two under control for longer. He does say this, and you guys can tell me this, and this might be one of the last things we talk about, unless you have another point. But he says, Anakin says, "You're not strong enough to face him on your own. Let me help." And the father says, "No, get in your starship and leave this planet." And he says, "Leave this planet."
Yeah,
he needs your ship to leave this planet. And so I was like, wait a minute. If it's a realm, does he call it a planet? You know what I mean? Like if it's like this. So I do think that Mortis is a planet. I do think it's probably in a different galaxy.
Black hole or
and
something.
I think that Peridia, and I have in my notes earlier that if you zoom out, there was a scene that happens somewhere, and if you zoom back from it, there's all these mountains and things like that, and it looks a lot like what Balin was staring at again. So I may be grasping for things for it to be. I didn't pick up on it in the first 2 times I rewatched it.
Yeah.
Today when I watched it, it kind of like jumped out at me. Like he says, this planet, the sun needs your ship to leave this planet. So I was like, well, maybe it is a section of Peridia or something like that. I don't know. So I'll let you guys tell me what you think, and then.
That is really cool. I did not notice that. But you're right. He does say, like, get on your ship before my son steals your ship to get out of here. But they never actually fly away. It's always they just kind of wake up where they are. So I guess the father doesn't want them to know where they are.
Yeah.
Never know.
So this also kind of ties into Star Trek as well. I don't want to keep bringing Star Trek into this episode, but there's the one where I think it's the Final Frontier where they're looking for God or whatever. Have you ever seen that season? So that Vulcan comes on the ship. He has like these mind powers, and he gets everyone real happy. And they're going on this mission to find this deity. And I always just remember like this godlike figure, and James T. Kirk's going, "What does God need with a starship?" And he basically, this would have come out prior to all this stuff happening in the Clone Wars, but maybe some stuff from this was pulled from there. But, Captain Kirk's like, why would God need a starship? Like, why, if you're all powerful and all controlling, like, if you're really a god, what do you need my starship for? And that kind of makes me think about, like, why does the brother need a starship if he's like this Mortis god? And I'm trying to tell if we have, as a fandom, as fans, have we called them the Mortis gods? Is it just the Mortis arc? So they are the ones, but the ones what? The ones that are real powerful?
Self-proclaimed.
They could be self-proclaimed. They could just be super strong in the Force. Who knows? I don't know. So, you guys have any final thoughts on the second episode? Which one was this now? Season 3, episode 16. What are your final thoughts?
I think we hit the nail on the head in it, saying that it's showing a manifestation of the good and the bad, the light and the dark side of the Force. I think you pretty much cracked it this episode, mate, with what you've said, and also it's a good spot with the whole planet thing.
All right. Well, okay, so yeah, that's a lot. Again, we thought maybe we'd dive into 2 episodes today, but I think it proves that these are really heavy episodes, 45 minutes covering a 23-minute arc. I mean, these are deeper dives in some of our Ahsoka reviews, but lots of good stuff in here. Folks, if you have any theories, you have any opinions on anything that we've said, please let us know. All right, we're at Explore the Force on everything. You can email us exploretheforce@gmail.com. You can Instagram us, DM us on the Instagram. We're still on X for some reason. We're on Instagram Threads. We got a TikTok that I barely know how to use. So
right.
Reach out to us on Facebook. Taylor just revamped some of our Facebook chat groups, so join those.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Let us know what you think. If you're sitting there screaming at your your speaker right now, thinking, "How'd you miss this?" or whatever, like, let us know. Like, we know we're not perfect, and we want to hear what you guys have to think, and have to say. And of course, hopefully next week, we'll be able to wrap this all up for y'all. But I think that's it for all of us. So, Taylor, do you want to take us out?
Yeah. Well, from me, guys, for light and life.
And from me, unlimited power.
Yeah.
All right. And for all of us, we have spoken. See you guys next week.